Hello and welcome back to another lecture from organic chemistry. We said whenever you get an NMR spectrum, the first thing that you have to look for it, the number of signal that you see, because that's going to tell you how many non-identical hydrogen atoms you have inside the formula. The next one is going to be their chemical shift or location. And how do we get the chemical shift? We take an NMR sample and we dissolve it. We take our sample and we dissolve it inside NMR solvent. And what's NMR solvent? It's a regular solvent that any hydrogen inside the molecule got replaced by deuterium. Next, we take 1% from a compound that we call TMS. It's a silicon compound, and we add it to the solvent. We're going to use this one as an internal reference and to refer technically the chemical shift to it. And the silicon compound, it has 4 methyl groups that all of them are identical. And next thing is because carbon has higher electronegativity than silicon, it will pull electron density from silicon, so it will have partial negative charge, while silicon it will get partial positive charge. And the output of this, the carbon atoms, they will fill some extra electron density, and that electron density also will be sensed by the hydrogen that attached to carbon. That means the hydrogen atoms will be surrounded by a cloud of electron density. And so we say the hydrogen atom will be shielded from external magnetic field, and that's gonna lead to smaller gap between alpha and beta spin state. Okay, if the gap between alpha and beta spin state is small, in that case we need a small amount of energy to technically flip the spin. Okay, so we don't need to apply really high radio frequency to flip the spin. Okay, how do we calculate delta? As you see, we take the observed shift from TMS in hertz, and we divide it by the frequency of the machine, and that's going to give us the chemical shift. We usually we report it in ppm, and the common range for it is going to be 0 to 10. It doesn't mean that we cannot have higher than 10 or lower than 0. If it's lower than 0, in that case, we say the hydrogen atoms or the protons are really shielded from the external magnetic field. And if it's higher than 10, that means that there is a really electronegative element there, or there is a huge deshielding effect. And the deshielding effect there that is pulling any magnetic field that electron can create, and it will be so naked that it can actually fill entire of the external field. Okay, so lower energy means delta E is low. Okay, if delta E is low, that means the gap between alpha and beta is small one. And as you see, it says shielded. Okay, shielded. If you're dealing with shielded protons, delta E, it will be smaller. Energy that you need to apply, it will be smaller. We call this region, we call it off field. Why off field? Imagine, okay, or assume this is going to be your starting point. Close to the starting point or close to the signal of the TMS, if we see some signal there, we call them up field. And down of this road, if you treat it as a road, or down of this area, if you see any peak here way far from this TMS signal, in that case we say you're dealing with signal inside downfield area. That means that delta E here is really high. The gap between alpha and beta is really high. That means this proton that we're talking about, it is really deshielded. the chemical shift will be a really, really good way to figure like which element is technically carrying that hydrogen atom that we are talking about. And for example, when it comes to methane, as you see, the chemical shift is 1, but if I replace one of the hydrogen by electronegative element, like let's say iodine instead of hydrogen, and very soon we will have induction effect from iodine, and that's gonna deshield technically the carbon and all hydrogen atoms as well, and that's gonna give us higher ppm. So delta E is going up. The higher the inductive effect that we apply, the bigger delta E, and that's gonna lead to bigger chemical shift. Okay, so electronegativity of fluorine higher than electronegativity of chlorine, and that's higher than electronegativity of bromine, and then iodine. And as you see, fluorine has the highest chemical shift. Okay, now if I keep adding more electronegative element, even if they are the same, I should see more deshielding effect, technically more pulling effect from carbon nucleus. And as you see, chemical shift is going up by just up to 3 by putting just 1 chlorine. And if I double those chlorine, now it's jumping to 5. And if you turn it to chloroform, or chloroform a compound with 3 chlorine and 1 hydrogen, the ppm to the chemical shift turn to 7.3. Another example is we have this molecule. That's here we have chlorine, and then of course 2 hydrogens, 2 hydrogen here, and last one it has 3 hydrogen atoms. Okay, I'm going to highlight the chlorine. Chlorine is here. The closest hydrogen to the most electronegative elements are these 2. I'm going to call them A, and so we should have the highest chemical shift for HA. And now, as I get far from the chlorine, because we will have more number of bonds involved there, the induction effect will go down. And the next one, it will be B, and last one is going to be here, C. Okay. So as we get far from the electronegative element, the ppm is going to get smaller and smaller. And as you see, from 3.3, we ended to 0.9. Okay, let's practice some example about it. And I want to know, what's the chemical shift for each actual protein that we are dealing with. And remember, here we have CH3, this one CH2, 2 hydrogen here. That's also CH2. And the last one is CH3. Okay, now, what's going to be which element, which carbon fills the highest electronegativity around it? And I can say number 3 is attached to oxygen, or really electronegative element. So that should fill the highest deshielding effect. So the highest one should be number 3. Okay, that's the most deshielded element. Next one, I can pick one between 2 and 4. Let's compare 2 and 4 and see what's the difference between 2 and 4. Okay. In 2, let's say we're talking about, in 4, let's say we're talking about this hydrogen. And check the atoms around that hydrogen. What do we see around it? We see 2 hydrogens. Okay, so I see 2 hydrogen around it. What else? And I see this carbonyl group. Okay, so 2 hydrogen and carbonyl group. But how about number 2? Okay, if I pick, for example, this atom, okay, I see a hydrogen around it. What else? I see a methyl, and I see CH2. Okay, CH2. So I see, well, number 4, 2 hydrogen. Okay, well, number 2, I see 2 methyls. Okay, 2 methyls and 1 hydrogen. Okay, so you might say, okay, one has 2 carbon instead of hydrogen, so maybe you should go with that one. But we have to check also the hybridization. This one is sp2. Well, those 2 carbon are sp3. Okay, so I'm going to say number 4 is going to have higher chemical shift than number 2, and number 1 is going to have the lowest one. Okay, so my answer is going to be number 3 will have the highest one, and let's see which one it has number 3 as the highest. So 3 here, it says 4.2, and next one we said that number 4. Okay, I see number 4 is the second one, so we have 4.2 for number 3, and then 1.9 for number 4, and then we said number 2 should have higher and a chemical shift than number 1, and is 1.8, and the last one is 0.9. So the correct answer, I'm going to say A is the correct answer in this case. Okay, another example. Okay, here we have hydrogen. Okay, they attach to carbon, and the carbon attached to oxygen. Okay, so oxygen directly attached to carbon. So number 1 is going to have the highest chemical shift. Okay, next let's talk about number 2 and number 3. Number 3, okay, we have 3 hydrogens there that attach to, like, and that they have neighbor, and their neighbor is carbonyl. Okay, so 2 hydrogen and a carbonyl. Okay, how about here? Any hydrogen that you study, okay, that hydrogen is going to feel like there's a hydrogen there around it. There's a carbonyl, and also the neighbor, it can fill carbon with oxygen. Okay, so I'm going to say number 2, it will feel more induction effect from its neighbor. The carbonyl is pulling because it has sp2 hybridization. How about this? Because it has oxygen. Okay, so both sides are pulling electron density from carbon number 2. But how about carbon number 3? Only thing is pulling is this, the carbonyl. Okay, so we have only one force, and that's carbonyl, which is same one for carbon number 2. Okay, but carbon number 2 has another induction effect, and that's from the OH. So number 2 is going to be the second, and next one it will be number 3. So I'm going to say number 1 should have the highest one, so it will be 3.9, and number 2 should be 2.7. Next one it will be 1. Okay, so 3.9. Okay, we said 2.7. Okay, and 1.9.